There we go, problem 41, page 488. We are still in homework set 35, and you have a sister problem, which is 42. And hopefully you've taken some vitamin I after you did this last problem, but brace yourselves. We're going to do one that's very similar to that. In this case, you are given this information about theta, and you're asked to find cosine theta, to find sine of theta plus pi over 6, to find cosine of theta minus pi over 3. Okay, and finally D, find the tangent of theta plus pi over 4. Okay, so very similar to the previous problem. Let's start over here. Drawing a unit circle. I'm looking for theta in the quadrant 2, between pi over 2 and pi, that has a sine of 1/3. So let me just draw 1/3. There, that little length right there is 1/3. And this little angle associated with it is the angle whose sine is 1/3, positive 1/3, in the second quadrant. Yep. So there's theta right there, and that, all we know. Well, we don't know anything. We know the sine is 1/3. So let's go ahead and do these problems now. So problem A says go find the cosine of theta. Well, I can go to the shelf and pull out a fundamental theorem, not a theorem, but an identity. In this case, it's kind of the key Pythagorean identity, and that is that sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta is equal to 1. And so cosine theta is equal to plus or minus 1 minus sine squared theta. So if I know a sine squared, I can put it in and calculate actually two cosines. And the way we discriminate between those two is we look back over here and say, oh, you know what? The cosine that we're looking for is a minus sign. So I'm going to put 1/3 in here, and I'm going to say that cosine theta is equal to minus square root of 1 minus. Sine is 1/3. 1/3 squared is 1/9. This is minus root 8 over 9. That's going to be minus 2 root 2 all over 3. And I'm going to put that right there. And we are going to march on. Okay. Next problem we're going to take on is the sine of theta plus pi over 6. So we're going to now go to the shelf. We're going to pull down a sum and difference formula, and that formula is the sine of theta times the cosine of pi over 6 plus yields plus cosine of theta sine of pi over 6. And we're going to see if we know these things. I think we do. Here's the sine of theta. Yeah, that's 1/3. Times what's the cosine of pi over 6? That's cosine 30 degrees, so that's root 3 all over 2. Is it not? It is. Plus cosine of theta, we just calculated that, minus 2/3 root 2, times sine of pi over 6 is 1/2. So can I do this in my head? I got a 6 on the bottom. I've got a root 3 minus 2 root 2 on the top, all over 6. Okay? Got an equal sign right there. Great, halfway through. Catch your breath. Let's move on. Here comes C. Same thing. Go to the shelf, get the difference of cosines. Here it comes at you like a Gatling gun. Cosine of theta minus pi over 2. Cosine of theta minus pi over 3 is the cosine of theta times the cosine of pi over 3. The minus gives you a plus sine of theta sine of pi over 3. Put them in. Cosine of theta is minus 2 root 2 all over 3. Cosine of pi over 3, that's cosine of 60 degrees. That is, what is the cosine of 60 degrees? Is that 1/2? That's 1/2. The cosine root, yeah, it's 1/2. Plus the sine of theta, which is 1/3, and the sine of 60 degrees is root 3 all over 2. Okay, so look at that, same answer. And we could, I think probably we'll end up talking about why those two are the same. What we've done actually is we have moved this 30 degrees to the left as a phase shift, and we've moved this 60 degrees to the right, so a total phase shift of 90 degrees, and the sine and cosine, if shifted properly by 90 degrees, are one and the same, and that's why this comes out the same. Finally, tangent of pi plus 4, go to the shelf. What the heck is the tangent of a plus b? It is the tangent of theta plus pi over 4 is it's tangent of theta plus the tangent of pi over 4 all over 1 minus tangent theta tangent pi over 4. We are given a little break here because the tangent of pi over 4 is 1. So this quantity is 1 plus tangent theta and 1 minus tangent theta. Yeah, I'm tempted to just multiply top and bottom by 1 minus tangent theta right now, but let's not do that. Or I don't think I want to do that anyway. No, I don't. Let's go up here and let's go find tangent theta. I've got tangent theta, of course, is sine theta over cosine theta, so it's 1/3 all over, what's the cosine theta? Minus 2/3 root 2. So the 3's go away, multiply top and bottom by root 2. I get minus root 2 over 4, hopefully. So let's insert that in here, and I'll get 1 minus root 2 all over 4. And 1 plus root 2 over 4. I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 4 and get 4 minus root 2. 4 plus root 2, and I know your book will take this another step. They just abhor having that root 2 down in the bottom. Really, they should get over it and get a life. So I'll do it so we can check the answer. What do we have up on the top? We have 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times root 2 is 4 root 2. It's going to happen twice. So you got 8 root 2. And then you've got minus root 2 times root 2, which is a plus 2. And here comes the bottom. This is a plus b. This is a minus b. So here is a squared minus b squared. And so at the end of the day, I've got an 18 divided by 2, a 9, 4 root 2 all over 14/7. So we've got just enough room. Kind of a rainbow problem, if you will. Okay, there is problem 41.